The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we have got a really timely show planned for you. It's tax time and we've got a couple of experts from the Department of Revenue here in Montana to talk to us about how to do our taxes safely, quickly, do it right, get it done, and get that refund check into your bank account. We have a lot to tell you about, so please today, stay tuned.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, and my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
In 20 years at an electric utility, I've seen the hardships many of our neighbors face with high winter heating bills.
Ross Holter, Flathead Electric Co-op.
That's why I donate to Energy Share of Montana. I just hate the thought of senior citizens, and young kids especially, being cold in the winter. Donate to Energy Share. Help your neighbor stay warm.
To donate, call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Energy Share, you can help your neighbor stay warm.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and as I said in the top of the show, we've got a great show planned for you today to help you with, hey, it's tax time. We have a lot of great tips about filing your taxes online, some different tax credits and things that have come on board in the last year since you last did your taxes, and we've got a couple of great speakers here today to talk with us about that. First, we have Sanjay Talwani, and Sanjay, welcome. You are the Public Information Officer for the Department of Revenue.
Yep.
And Bryce, you are Bryce Katz, and you're a Program Support Unit Manager, also at the Department of Revenue.
Yes.
Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Sanjay, so let's start with you. What's new? Because there is a few, not tons, but a few things.
A lot of your taxes are a lot like they were last year, not a lot of major changes, but there is one very significant change that people ought to be aware of, and that is we now have a Montana version of the Earned Income Tax Credit. Now, this has been a tax credit that's been in the federal system for a long time.
Yeah, I've heard of it before.
And it's been called, just one of the best mechanisms to kind of get money back into the pockets of working people. Mm-hmm. And so basically you qualify for it. If you qualified for the federal Earned Income Tax Credit this year or in previous years, it is basically just based on that. It is worth 3% of your federal tax credit that you get on your form. So now, if in the past you've qualified for it on your federal return, and you think you might qualify for it again because your situation is pretty similar, then you better check out the state one, because you will qualify for it if you qualified for the federal credit. Yeah. It's not a giant amount of money. It's 3% of the federal credit, so it might be $100, $150 depending on your situation, but a lot of people qualify for it. The threshold is not that low. If you have a couple or 3 dependents, your income may be as high as $45,000, $50,000, and you'll qualify for this credit. It's also a refundable credit, and what that means is that even if you owe less than 0 on your taxes, on your state and federal taxes, state or federal taxes, instead of just paying 0, you actually get the money back.
Oh,
you get a check back.
Great.
And so, in fact, you owe negative taxes.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good thing people ought to be aware of, and it's real easy. People who have qualified for it before know about it, and they just never did it on the state system,
Right.
and now they can. It's basically people have to be between 25 and 65.
Okay.
And it involves earned income. And so if you have a lot of investment income, capital gains, that kind of thing, you won't qualify for it. It's really
Right.
designed for working people who don't make a whole lot of money to give them a little something back.
And you're just saying a paycheck, not your income or your rental income or anything like that. Your paycheck.
Right. So it's basically for, families, the many people here who don't make over $50,000, and it's scaled up depending on, on your income and your number of dependents. If you have no dependents, it cuts off pretty low. You got to be making not a lot of money to get it.
Sure, yeah.
But if you have 3 or more dependents, that threshold rises pretty high, or at least up into 40, 50, and people who maybe think they don't qualify for it because they say, hey, I'm making $45,000, I don't deserve this, I may not qualify for this, what essentially is like a rebate. But it's definitely worth checking out.
And I just want to say that, when it comes to something like that, people deserve it because they work so hard, they give so much to their community, and the people in the situation you're talking about, boy, $100 or $150 could mean a bill got paid that wasn't going to get paid.
That's right. It's been called by some one of the most effective anti-poverty programs in the whole tax code. Now, but you don't have to be in poverty to qualify for it.
Right.
So it's pretty helpful, and it was something the 2017 Montana legislature came up with, and it was going to be in last year, and then it was delayed because of the budget considerations of the legislature.
Well, I say yay to the legislature in 2017 for bringing that to us. Now, just in the few minutes we have left, Sanjay, can you talk a bit about the elderly homeowner tax credit?
Yeah, sure. The elderly homeowner tax credit is a thing that's been around for some time, and it's if you are over 62 or over, and you lived at least 9 months in Montana, and your household earns less than $45,000, so not just you, but your entire household, you will likely qualify for it, and it's up to $1,000, and it is also refundable. So the cool things about this credit are, first of all, it's refundable. So like the earned income tax credit, if you owe negative, you get the money back. Another thing about it is that even if you don't have to fill out, even if you you earn hardly anything and you don't even have to file a federal income tax, you can still file for the credit.
Wow, that's great news.
Yeah, you can do it with just a couple of pages of the paper form, or better yet, online. You can do it online, and one thing we found this year was that we had a whole lot more people, about 10% more people applying for it and getting it than previous year. And we think that's just because more people knew about it. And so that tells us that there's still people out there who aren't aware that this credit exists, and they ought to pursue it.
And it tells me I have to keep having you come back and be here to talk to our audience about this. Folks, we have so much more to tell you about in terms of your taxes for the coming year, and or for the past year, excuse me, and we don't want you to miss a single bit of the information. We want you to get every dime back that you deserve to get back. So please, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We have lots more to tell you.
Gentlemen, this is a secure federal facility. Do you have your Montana Real IDs?
ID?
I am Captain Lewis, and this is Captain Clark.
I'm sorry, I can't let you in.
Can't go into a federal facility, can't fly. Let's go back to the river.
Yes, we'll float home. Let me check the Google. What's a dam?
Discover more at mtrealid.gov.
Montana Real ID. It's the real me.
It was a beautiful day. There was about 2 square feet of ice near the door, which I slid on and fell, cracking one rib. And I became somewhat frightening for me to walk outside, particularly in the winter. The Stepping On program came as kind of a surprise to me. I didn't know about it. I've learned the importance of proper balance. I think anybody who has fallen or is afraid of falling would benefit from this program.
3,000-pound walrus? Good insulation. 10-pound Sphinx cat? Bad insulation. Puffed up cardinal? Good insulation. Naked mole rat? Oh, bad insulation. If your home's insulation isn't all that it could be, the Low Income Energy Assistance Program may be able to help. Call today. You just might be eligible for weatherization assistance, and that could make your nest a little cozier.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting. But it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're talking about taxes today. And you know, it doesn't have to be an awful time. This is actually an opportunity for you to get all your financial situations in order and know where you're at and be ready for the coming year. We have a couple of experts with us today from the Department of Revenue. Sanjay Talwani, you have been talking with us about just some of the little differences, but let's talk in our taxes this year, but let's talk about just some general tax information. And I know my question is always, how long till I get my refund?
Well, you can get your refund pretty quickly, but here's one way you can get your refund more quickly, and that is to file electronically versus filing on paper. And we say this every year, and filing electronically is really easy. There's a whole lot of software out there. There's help out there. Some of the software is free, some of it's low cost. It depends on your situation, but you can check it out on our website at mtrevenue.gov. We have all the qualified people who are recognized by us, and you can check out their different offers. Now, the reason you should do this over paper is, first of all, most people, once they go to electronic filing, find it just easy.
Yeah.
It's asking you the questions. It's doing the math for you.
Yes.
So you can't.
Yes.
It's really hard to make a calculating error.
Right.
The other thing is it is more secure. It won't get lost in the mail. There won't be a human error. There won't be an error in an electronic scanner. You don't have to worry your digit is written exactly right.
Exactly.
It just is more accurate, more safe. And what that ends up meaning is you get your refund quicker.
Right.
And just a couple of quick statistics here.
Sure, please.
The average time for getting a refund this past tax season was a little under 14 days for electronic filing. But it was a fair bit longer, close to 4 weeks or so on paper, and just because the electronic thing, someone hits send, comes into our office, it's going through a whole lot of things. And, there are humans to check out because we have a lot of anti-fraud mechanisms to make sure that you are you and you're not someone out in Macedonia stealing your information and stealing your refund. But with electronic filing, it's just all set up better. So you could get your refund a lot quicker. You just, when people sort of, file and then they don't get their refund and they wonder, where's my refund? First of all, you can check online at
Yeah,
Where's My
which I
Refund.
love.
And
It
see,
tells me not to check so often, but I do all the time.
Right, and it might say it's being held up because, maybe we need another document, maybe we need a piece of information from you. It could take up to 90 days in the sort of worst case scenarios, and that's because we're checking out fraud.
Yeah.
Not because we think you, the Montana taxpayer, are committing fraud, but because there's people around the country and around the world who may have stolen information. Someone may
Yes.
steal a W-2 from your employer, somehow data breach. Maybe your employer doesn't even know it was stolen. And then they're filing a false tax return, trying to go after your refund. And those are the mechanisms we have to do with a lot of kind of back office data crunching to prevent that.
And I have to say, because I've been filing online for a number of years now, and it's been 14 days or so since the beginning almost. I mean, in terms of, it's gotten quicker even than that. So I think you guys do a great job of getting that through. That sounds like a great idea. Okay, now Bryce, let's bring you into this conversation because you have some information about a couple of things. The Property Tax Assistance Program and the Montana Disabled Veterans programs. What are the programs? Who do they affect?
So Sanjay's been talking about the income tax side of things. Both of these programs, if you qualify, help to lower the amount of property taxes you're going to pay each year.
Great.
They're fairly similar, but there are a couple differences. So the Property Tax Assistance Program has 3 qualifying criteria. You have to own the property, you have to occupy and reside in that property as your primary residence for at least 7 months of the year, and then you have to meet the income guidelines. And for this coming year, the income guidelines for a single person is $23,337. And for a married couple or filing head of household, it's $31,116. Now that's federal adjusted gross income, so that would be right off your tax return. Some things to remember there is if your income is solely from Social Security, typically that's non-taxable, so that doesn't count towards your federal adjusted gross income, so it wouldn't count towards your qualification not qualifying for the Property Tax Assistance Program.
Okay. That sounds right.
Yeah, so the key thing there, again, is own the property, occupy it, and then meet those income guidelines. And the other key thing to remember is you need to apply by April 15th of each year. If you wait until the fall when you receive your property tax bill and then try to apply, we'll definitely take that application, but we won't be able to get you into the program until the following year.
Right. And how does it, we just have a minute left, but let's get started because this is always a very important discussion for me. How is it different for disabled veterans?
So that's very similar for the disabled veterans. The only difference is you have to be rated at or paid at the 100% rate from the Veterans Administration. So if you have a letter from the Veterans Administration saying that you're rated at 100% disabled or you're getting paid at the 100% rate, then you could qualify for the Montana Disabled Veterans Program.
That is wonderful. And I do, as I told you off camera, I do want to say that we've taken advantage of the Veterans Program, and it is fabulous. And the best part is you don't have to reapply every year.
Correct.
And it's also for the surviving spouse as well.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, folks, we have so much more to talk about. We want to make sure that, again, you get every benefit from your taxes that you can, and that you do it in a way that doesn't make you anxious and crazy like I usually get. Come back. We have great information for you with a couple of great experts from the Montana Department of Revenue.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
Are you looking for a helping hand through the maze of human services, or for information on government programs and benefits that you may qualify for? The Information and Assistance Program provides information on all programs that meet our aging population's basic needs and programs that enhance their lives as well as the lives of their families or caregivers. If you have questions about Medicaid, Medicare, or other services and programs, please call 1-800-551-3191.
Every generation produces heroes, men and women who step forward to defend our country in time of need, no matter the personal cost to themselves. And though we can never fully repay them, we can make sure they have access to low-cost, long-term care when they need it. That's what Montana's Veterans Homes are all about. If you've got a hero in need in your family, call us. We can help.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The classes taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools classes taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons, and we're here today talking about our taxes, and have a couple of experts from the Department of Revenue, and we've been talking with Bryce Katz from the Department of Revenue about a couple of special programs, the PTAP, which is the Property Tax Assistance Program, and then the Montana Disabled Veterans Program. Went through it kind of quickly in our last segment, so maybe we could just hit the highlights again, Bryce.
Sure. So again, for both programs, you have to own the property, you have to occupy and reside in that property for at least 7 months of the year as your primary residence, and then you have to fall within the income guidelines. The difference for the Montana Disabled Veterans Program, again, is you have to be rated 100% disabled from the Veterans Administration or paid at the 100% rate. So even if you're only rated 80%, but you're getting paid at that full 100% rate, you can still qualify for the program.
Great.
And then, again, just April 15th is that application deadline.
Okay.
And as you mentioned, one of the nice things the legislature changed a couple sessions ago is once you apply for the program, you're in the program. You don't have to apply annually each year. We're going to go through an income verification process, check the income tax records that you're filing with the state, and see if you still qualify or not. And we'll send you a decision letter each spring letting you know whether you qualified or not.
Well, as I said, it works. It is a great program, and I know that my husband and I are very happy about it, and I tell lots of veterans if I can. So thanks, Bryce, for that. So Sanjay, let's, we've had a lot of information on today's show. What do we want to leave our audience thinking about? Because it's tax time.
Well, one real common sense message is to not wait till the last minute, to get your paperwork together early. There's a lot of help out there if you find things complicated or you just want an expert to look over your shoulder while you're doing it. And be more confident that you're doing everything right. There are a whole lot of different groups out there. You can check with the AARP, the United Way, your local areas on aging. Exactly. And then even a lot of your other senior centers and stuff will at least know where to look in your community. And these are, there's help really all over the state in big towns, little towns. And but don't wait till the last minute, because all those folks, and a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of them are accountants who are on their own time helping out. They're retired accountants. These people really know their business, but they will get a big rush right before April 15th. And so you come in on April 14th and you got a pile of papers. You may not be able to
You're not going to the head of the line in that situation.
And the earlier you file, the earlier you get your refund. And you just never know if there's one little thing you're not sure of. It's nice if you're figuring it out, asking that question in February and not in April.
Yes, indeed.
And so we there's a lot of places you can look for this kind of help. You'll get your refund more quickly. You basically just get to the front of the line. It's not scary. And one more bit of advice: if you find that you owe taxes, okay, no one really likes to
think about that.
write a check. It's not the end of the world. The Department of Revenue will work with you on a payment plan to do it. But the important thing is that you contact us and don't just ignore it and not file. That's far worse than calling us up and saying, hey, I'm going to owe this much money, but I'm not sure I can do it. And then that happens a lot, and we'll work out.
Sanjay, that's good to know. You know, with so many things on this program, we tell people or ask people, don't wait. Right away, make that call or write the letter, whatever, because usually somebody wants to have you give you a hand. They don't want you to not be successful. Right. And let's just talk a little bit more about filing online, because I know I have got friends and relatives who believe it's just too dangerous. What do you think?
Well, you know, a lot of people have thought that, and a lot of people really think, you know, a piece of paper in hand is the real thing, and all this other stuff you never know. But it turns out the truth is really the opposite. Online filing is really quite secure. The various software pieces of software out there are, you know, tested with us. They work. They give us the data, us the Department of Revenue, the data, you know, in the right place where it belongs. And it is really, really reliable. With sending a piece of paper, sending your form in the mail, it'll probably work, but there's just those tiny little elements of, you know, human error, things getting lost, and you know, transferring your written numbers into electronic data. There's just a few places things can go wrong.
It is very easy to transpose a number or something. And I guess to tie up that conversation, I'm going to say the best part about it, other than getting it really quickly, that refund, is you can track it. You can see what's happening. And I have done that for years and found it to be really helpful. If you want to spend that money on something, you know it's coming. You know what's happening. Been great.
The software it's really user friendly. You can it asks the questions it needs to ask, and if you're missing something, it'll kind of tell you. You know, and like I said, it'll do the math for you. It's you know, there's different types of software out there, and they work in different ways, but basically they're all pretty user friendly, and most people find they're like, hey, wow, that was easy.
And very surprising. Well, thank you both so much for being here today, telling us about the great programs, reassuring us that it's fine and actually very much more efficient and safe to file online. Folks, as Sanjay said, do not wait till the last minute. We need you to get that done and over with, and then you're going to feel all calm and zen and relaxed. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman. Thanks for being with us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.